The crimson light of Xyler Prime bled across the faceted obsidian walls of the Ethel Council chamber, reflecting in the multifaceted eyes of the gathered dignitaries. A low, guttural hum, a symphony of apprehension and barely contained fury, resonated through the vast space. Before them, projected in shimmering hololight, danced the spectral remains of Earth, a twisted, charred husk of a planet, a testament to the atrocity that had birthed this convocation. 30 millennia had passed since the Great Scattering, the catastrophic event that had erased Earth from the galactic map, a planet obliterated by a weapon whose origins remained shrouded in terrifying mystery. Now, after an eternity of silence, the whispers had begun again, humanity had returned, and the shadow of their wrath fell heavy upon the Ethel. Lord Valthos, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the oppressive light, was the first to speak, his voice a rasping echo in the cavernous hall. The readings are undeniable. A vessel of unknown origin has breached the defensive perimeter of the Zidonian sector. Their technology, primitive yet effective. They have bypassed the sensor arrays with an almost instinctive understanding of their vulnerabilities. He paused, the many lenses of his eyes focusing on the holographic image of Earth's ruin. And their trajectory. Is it coincidence that they are heading directly towards the ruins of what was once the Sol system, or is it something more? Preordained? A ripple of unease swept through the council. Lady Lyra, a luminescent being of pure energy, shifted her ethereal form, her voice a melodious whisper that belied the steel in her words. Speculation serves us ill, Valthos. We must treat this with logic. The Zidonian sector is a vast space. An unknown vessel, even if primitive, could be any number of things from simple scavengers to, perhaps, a rogue faction of our own. Rogue. Valthos spat the word with disdain, a venomous hiss escaping his mandibles. Perhaps a rogue faction capable of such destruction? The weapon that consumed Earth was unlike anything we have ever encountered. A weapon that bypassed the very laws of physics. They say the Sol system was erased in a fraction of a cycle, and now they return. Across the chamber, Elder Thuron, his ancient, crystalline body shimmering with wisdom and weariness, slowly raised a hand, silencing the burgeoning argument. Acts are these: a vessel has entered our space. We do not know its intentions nor its capabilities. We cannot be governed by fear. We must be guided by prudence. His voice, a resonant chime, echoed through the chamber, and the assembled council members stilled, focusing on his commanding presence. What then are our options? We cannot simply ignore this vessel. We must ascertain their intent. What do the council propose? The debate that followed was a maelstrom of fear and cautious pragmatism. Some, like Valthos, clamored for immediate preemptive action, fearing a repeat of the cataclysmic event. Others, like Lyra, advocated for observation and measured response, pointing out the inherent danger of provocation. Thuron, as always, steered a middle course. He proposed a dual approach, a reconnaissance mission to gather intelligence and the mobilization of a defensive fleet just in case. The decision was not arrived at lightly, each member of the council knowing the weight of their decisions. The past had shown that the consequences of their mistakes could have ramifications that would last longer than they could comprehend. A squad of elite Ethel scouts, cloaked in advanced stealth technology, was dispatched to intercept the approaching vessel. Meanwhile, the strategic command began the slow process of preparing the fleet. Weeks bled into months, the tension within the Ethel Council chamber growing with each passing cycle. Reports trickled in. The unidentified vessel continued its inexorable approach towards the remains of the Sol system. Sensor readings remained anomalous, defying any conventional understanding of propulsion or weaponry. The vessel was a mystery, and as the time went by, it continued to be a mystery. The scouts, upon their return, delivered cryptic information about the ship. Their sensors had been barely able to register its presence. The ship was as silent as the grave. The day the human vessel reached the burnt orbit of Earth, a collective breath was held in the Ethel chamber. The scouting report indicated that the ship had begun to deploy a series of probes, each one seeming to analyze the debris field with astonishing thoroughness. The silence of the void was suddenly shattered by a transmission. A signal, unlike any the Ethel had ever encountered. The message was fragmented, corrupted, yet it was unmistakably intended for them, and it spoke of peace. The council members were stunned, a mixture of bewilderment and disbelief passing across their multifaceted eyes. Could this be a deception, a ploy to lure them into a false sense of security, or was it truth? The Ethel, after much debate, decided to respond. The response, prepared by the most astute of diplomats, was simple, a request for direct communication, a plea for clarification of their intentions. The seconds ticked by like an eternity within the chamber, and then a reply. A response that was immediate, a visual transmission of startling clarity, an image of a human. The human, a woman with pale skin, dark hair, and eyes that seemed to hold both immense sorrow and unyielding resolve, stood before a backdrop of Earth's spectral remains. Her features were delicate yet strong, and her voice, translated by the Ethel systems, was calm, almost soothing. "Greetings, Ethel Council. We are the remnant of humanity. We have returned." The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken history. The council members, despite their advanced age, could feel the weight of countless cycles of history bearing down on them. A slow, shuddering breath passed through the chamber. The human continued, her voice devoid of any threat. "We are aware of the role you played in the destruction of our home. We do not come to judge. We come to offer an alliance." The silence that followed was broken only by the crackling of the hollow projector, the low hum of the life support systems, and the erratic thumping of many hearts within the room. An alliance, after what they had done. The words were hard to grasp. How could they offer an alliance? Why would they? Lady Lyra was the first to speak. "Human, your words are surprising. You claim you know of our involvement in the destruction of your world. Can you explain?" The human's gaze did not waver. "We have learned much in the 30,000 cycles since the scattering. We know the weapon that obliterated Earth was not of your making. We know of the force behind it, a shadow that has been moving across the galaxy for eons, consuming worlds like ours, leaving only ashes in its wake." Valthos, his voice trembling with a mixture of fear and rage, snapped. "Lies! You speak lies to disarm us." The human's expression remained unchanged. "We have no need to disarm you, Ethel. We know your technology. We have seen it. We have analyzed it. We are not here to fight. We are here to survive." The image shifted, revealing a schematic, a complex diagram of interconnected nodes and energy conduits. "This is a device, a countermeasure. We believe you possess the means to implement it, to help us, to help yourselves." The diagram and the human's calm assurance were the first blows to the paranoia, the seed of reason in the council. The human's words struck deep within the heart of the council, a slow understanding beginning to dawn within the minds of those present. The schematic represented a weapon to defeat the weapon that destroyed Earth. The countermeasure was unlike anything they knew, a weapon designed to counter the forces that had destroyed Earth. But it did more than that. It appeared to have the ability to neutralize the weapon itself, eliminating the threat once and for all. Elder Thuron, his crystalline form pulsing with a renewed energy, broke the silence. "Explain." The human nodded. "The weapon that destroyed Earth, it is a weapon of the void, a devourer of worlds. It moves through the fabric of spacetime, leaving no trace. But it also has a weakness. It is vulnerable to a specific frequency, a resonance that can disrupt its function. This device will generate that frequency." "How could you know this?" Valthos hissed, his skepticism barely concealed. "We have studied the remnants of the weapon, the scattered energy signatures left in the wake of its destruction. We have adapted our technology, developed a system that can counteract its devastating effects." The woman paused. "We can share this knowledge with you, but the implementation will be complex. You will need to bring your technology to bear, work with us." Another wave of consternation spread through the council. To work with the humans, the very beings they had feared for centuries. The notion was almost unbearable. They understood that the humans were no longer the simple, primitive race they had once been. They had changed in the 30 millennia of solitude and exile, and that change had made them dangerous. The council members were also aware that the humans had also been tempered in the fires of their suffering, emerging with an understanding and resilience that surpassed their own. Lady Lyra took charge of the conversation, her voice ringing with the authority of the council. "What assurance can you give us that this is not a deception, that this is not a prelude to war?" The human's expression remained serene. "We have no interest in war, Ethel. We have lost everything. We are the survivors, the remnants. We seek only to preserve what remains. We understand the risk. The destruction of Earth still leaves a dark void in our hearts, even after all this time. We know that the destruction of any other world, including yours, would bring us no satisfaction. We are not warriors. We are the last hope." She paused, her eyes locking onto those of Lady Lyra. "We offer you more than a weapon. We offer you a future." And then she revealed their technology, the human's ultimate weapon. It was not a weapon of destruction, but of creation, a device that could repair the damage to space-time, a technology that could mend the wounds of the universe, a technology that could make the universe whole again, a device that could undo the destruction of Earth. It was an amazing technology, something the Ethel Council would not have believed possible had they not seen it with their own eyes, and they had. The Council deliberated for what felt like an eternity. The implications of this revelation were vast and overwhelming. The possibility of cooperation, the potential for a new alliance, the fear of betrayal, and the burden of responsibility. Elder Thuron, with his ancient wisdom, cast the deciding vote. "We accept your offer. We will join you. But let it be known, human, we will work together not for you, but for the future of all." The human woman smiled, a rare and heart-wrenching expression. Then we are together, Ethel. We will do what must be done. The alliance between the Ethel and humanity was born, forged in the ashes of the past with the hope of the future. Ships were dispatched to the heart of the Sol system to gather the resources needed to build the countermeasure and to learn and understand. It was a perilous task, and more than one ship was lost. But the Ethel ships continued to go and to find the resources. The construction of the device began, a collaborative effort between human and Ethel engineers, a symphony of disparate technologies working in perfect harmony. The humans with their innate understanding of the weapon's mechanics, and the Ethel with their vast resources and technological prowess. Work continued at a frenetic pace with the two sides, the very different peoples, working day and night. The initial results of the device were encouraging. The frequency, the resonance, was proven to be effective. The weapon from the void recoiled, its energy signatures diminished, its advance slowed. But the construction was just the beginning. The weapon's creator was watching, and its hunger was insatiable. The Ethel fleet, now augmented by human technology, engaged the weapon in a series of daring defensive maneuvers, the first real battle fought between the two sides. The Ethel's bravery was the stuff of legend, but the weapon's power was undeniable. Worlds fell, more were lost, but they held, they kept the weapon at bay. The final stage of the plan was a risky gamble, a desperate attempt to lure the weapon into a trap. With all the skill and fortitude they possessed, the humans would activate the countermeasure, creating a field of resonance that would disrupt the weapon and render it inert. The Ethel fleet, acting as a shield, would be in the center of the trap, their ships bearing the brunt of the weapon's assault. As the moment of truth arrived, the Ethel and human fleets took their positions. In the hollow projector, the vessel carrying the countermeasure began to glow with an intense, blue energy. The weapon, drawn by the irresistible lure of the trap, advanced. The battle commenced. The humans, with their calm, logical brilliance, worked to focus the weapon. The Ethel, with their inherent courage, worked to keep it in range. The combined fleets had the advantage, but it was minimal and the losses mounted. As the device went online, the galaxy was bathed in a wave of blue light. The weapon howled in agony, its form contorting. The Ethel fleet, caught in the eye of the storm, absorbed the brunt of the weapon's fury. Then, in a final act of desperation, the human vessel fired and all was quiet. The human vessel was gone, sacrificed in a desperate gamble. The weapon was gone as well, and with it, the threat that had haunted the galaxy for eons. The void was once again silent. The Ethel, battered and bruised but triumphant, emerged from the wreckage. They had won. They had saved the galaxy, and the world had peace again. In the aftermath, they could see the ship's final transmission, a message from the human woman. "We knew we might not survive this. The risk was great, but we believe the future is worth the price. Remember us, remember that we fought for you, and remember that you must never ever let this happen again." As the humans and the Ethel rebuilt the ravaged worlds, they knew that something had changed. The universe was no longer a vast, empty expanse. It was now a home, a shared home to be protected together. The Council, however, had one more revelation, one more secret. The human ship was not gone. It was still out there, and it was heading towards a star and beyond. After the dust had settled, after the celebrations and the mourning, the Ethel Council discovered a hidden message within the final transmission. A message that spoke of something far grander than they had ever imagined, a hint of something beyond, a challenge, a new frontier. The message was brief, a coded sequence that required the combined power of human and Ethel minds to decipher. But as the information came into view, the faces of the council members turned to wonder, and something new, a light, shone within their eyes. The coded sequence was a map of the universe. It highlighted a series of coordinates, a series of pathways, and at the end of these pathways, a singular point, a point they could not yet understand. A message, they soon discovered, lay at the end of this map. A message not from the humans, but from someone or something else. A signal billions of years old coming from the very edge of the universe. A summons. A new age had begun, an age of discovery, an age of uncertainty, an age of wonder. The Ethel and humanity had faced the abyss and returned with victory and a future to build together. Their journey had just begun. The universe was vast. The unknown was out there. And they, together, would embrace it.